Keep doing that, Trevor. Keep going.
Nope.
Oh, come on. The people heard the last one anyway. Little air guitar over there. Yeah. This is what Trevor does when we're not on the air. Hey, this is the BVarsity Live Super Show. I'm Zach Ewing. That's Trevor Horn. And our next guest couldn't make it into Bakersfield, but we do have him on the phone, and we appreciate that. It's George Falgout of Taft. Coach, how are you?
Doing pretty good.
I'm glad you could join us here on the show. And first year out at Taft, I know everything's new, and that's always a challenge for a new coach. But how are things going for you?
Well, we're doing good. We've been working hard in the weight room. Been doing some good things out on the practice field. The coaching staff that I have working with me has been good, tying in with the kids and getting them tuned and ready to go.
George, for those who don't know, can you give us some of your coaching background and what your experience is like?
My coaching background, I come in, I coached under Tim Murphy for about 13 years. Been his D coordinator for 11 out of those 13 years. Started out with him up at Ignacio Valley High School. And then in 99, moved down to Fresno Clovis and helped open up the program there at Clovis East High School in the Clovis, Fresno area.
And anybody who knows their Central Section High School knows everything about what those Clovis East teams were able to do in the mid 2000s. They're very, very good teams. Well, what's your impression of Taft? And I know it's a school that had a strange year last year in a lot of ways, on the field and then off the field. Had the hazing incident and lost a game and lost a coach for a few games. And is there any residual of that? Is that something you've had to deal with at all, or is that completely in the past at this point?
It's in the past, man. These kids have put everything out of the way, out of mind, and they're focused. They're focused on what's happening now, and that right there to me is an outstanding thing as far as what these guys have gone through. For that matter, to school. I think everybody has pushed forward and is looking to what's happening, what's going on today, and what's going to happen in the future.
Having said that, who are the guys who will be hearing their names over and over again in the highlight reels this year?
We have Jamil Iacopo. He's our tight end. He's basically, we call him our utility guy. He's basically starting out our tight end and linebacker, and he's our backup quarterback. We have Tevin Howe, who's the returning quarterback. And then we have Donovan Waters, who's going to be our wing guy. And then we have Cameron Anderson, who's returning linebacker. Actually, we got almost all returning linebackers coming back from last year. We got Wyatt Huckins, Jordan Lopez. And then also on the offensive side, we have Josh Saylor, who shared some running back time back there, and Jeremy Wilmer. And then the last guy is Cody Johnson.
So as a defensive coach first, that has to kind of make your mouth water to have all those linebackers back. What sort of defense will you run, at least as a base?
As a base, it'll be a 4-4 cover 3, and it's an attacking type defense of reading and reacting, and it's simple. And that's the philosophy of both our offense and defense, is basically keep it simple to where our kids just read and react on the field.
George, how well do you know the South Sequoia League, and what are your impressions of it so far?
I know they're all the teams are tough, and I know they're well coached. And my good friend Casey Quinn up there, Cesar Chavez. Him and I had some past histories, and it's all good. And we've talked a lot, and Bakersfield Christian, these, and Wasco, and all of them, Shafter, Kennedy, they're all good teams, and I just got to take it, as a one step at a time thing, with my program, and just look at each day as working towards a win, to where that we become successful as we keep pushing through.
Well, I have to say, you mentioned this a little bit, but one of the special things about the SSL to me is every school really has an identity, and that's especially true in the towns where they're one-school towns. You have Wasco and Shafter and Taft, and it used to be Tehachapi, not anymore, but Arvin. And Taft may be right at the top of the list as far as a community taking pride in its program. How have you seen that take place?
The way I look at it, our or I should say, my experience here has been phenomenal. I mean, the people here are great. They love to back up, they love to back up their sports. They're very serious about their sport, and they have a strong support system here, to where that the kids are very well taken care of, and so are the staff here at this school. It's just a wonderful thing. You go into restaurants to eat, and the hospitality and the way folks want to talk with you and everything, and how they talk football and stuff. It's just an awesome feeling of how to have such a community be so strongly behind you.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I think we've seen both with football, with what Steve Sprague did in the middle part of the last decade, winning a section title in 2007, and then, say, the softball team that's won 3 section titles in a row. I mean, when you get it going out there, you can really get it going, and people will come out and support you.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of that softball team, I came out here and started in last May, and I had the opportunity to come out there and watch some of those games, some of those playoff games, and just to see, I mean, the community, everybody, how the students support each other. It's a beautiful thing, and it just amazes me how everyone supports everyone. You couldn't ask for anything better than that.
That's absolutely true. Let's take a look at Taft's schedule here. We'll throw it up, and I know you can't see it, Coach, but we're just going to kind of run through it. You open up at Golden Valley. Tell us about that game. That's been a really good rivalry between the two schools. It seems like they're always close games. I know that it's a game you're probably focused on at this point. What have you seen on film from the Bulldogs?
They're a good team. We right now they're the way that they attack and do things is they're well coached, and we just are looking at how we are going to face them and match with them in a way that where we're going to be able to push past them and get the victory. And the things that we've been doing is what I've been doing is sitting and watching film and trying to figure out, what ways that we can attack them offensively and defensively. And some of the stuff we've been working with our guys on the field and getting them prepared for that, like you said. And, and again, we just hope that it's another good game and another good game to where we can come out on top.
Then you come back home, you get to play in that what really can be a raucous environment. They're out in Taft to play Highland and North, and then at Miramonte. Taking your non-league schedule kind of as a group, what do you like about it? Is it challenging enough? Is it too challenging? What do you see in that schedule?
I like it. I mean, it's a way for us to see what we're about. I mean, that's the first thing. Is to see what we're going to do and how we're going to be effective through the whole thing. And as far as the way the scheduling is I think it's a good way to start, going into our league, and then being able to, once we're done with that, being able to reevaluate ourselves real quick, so that when we get into the league, that we have things that are, that we fixed or adjusted, if we needed to make any kind of adjustments or fix anything.
Sure thing, and you have those 3 road games in a row we see there in October at Chavez, Shafter, Wasco, which is always tough. Coach, being a head coach down there in a community like that, what's been a surprise maybe that you've had in the last few months since you've gotten into Taft, and whether it be a good one or a bad one?
Really, I mean, it's coaching for a while, I couldn't say I've had any negative or any kind of big surprises. I think the thing is it's just, changing, because coming into a different atmosphere, of course, coming from Fresno and Clovis is a big difference than coming into a small town like Taft. But the good thing is I have, my wife, who's a graduate from Taft, and also, my father-in-law, he's a graduate from Taft, and so I've been down here, and visiting family and stuff like that before. So everything has been pretty good as far as that is concerned. I guess what I can say is what surprises me is we got some good-sized boys that are working hard, and they have great work ethic as far as what they do inside the gym and on the field.
Yeah, that's one thing that Taft has always been able to hang its hat on is those big offensive linemen, the road graders up front. Is that a strength of this year's team?
Yeah, we have our offensive line is pretty big. You know, we have Jeremy Wilmer, who's 6'3", 257. We have a sophomore that's coming out, Mano, who's 6 foot 265. You know, and you know, of course, we have Benjamin Gallego, 6'1", 281, and you know, these are our starting linemen right now. And then also, too, with our tight ends, you know, we have some pretty good size tight ends with Jamil Iacopo, 6'2", 195, and then Cameron Ginn, who also is going to be phenomenal for us. He's 6'1", 194. So we have some good size, you know, and up front, and that's going to be huge for us, you know, I believe, with our strength in the offensive part.
Very good. Well, Taft, a school that's sort of had some ups and downs over the last few years after that real good run under Steve Sprague, and it sounds like George Falgout on his way to restoring some pride to that program and some consistency to that program. George, we appreciate you being able to join us today.
Thank you very much, and you know, I'm just looking for a great season, and I'm looking for Martin Stadium to rock and roll.
Absolutely, and we will be back on BVarsity Live. North High coach Norm Brown is next. George, if you don't mind hanging on the line just for a second for me, I got one question to ask you off air, and we'll be back on BVarsity Live Super Show with Norm Brown right after this.